Okay, today we're going to talk about Lambda in VPC. So, if you've watched some of the other tutorials on Lambda, you'll know that normally you can run a Lambda function and it can talk to the internet, no problem. It has no other access. And for many scenarios, that's fine. Often all you need to do is to talk to, for example, other AWS APIs. So you might have a Lambda function that gets triggered when an S3 item lands in the bucket, and then you want to, say, trigger a message on an SQS queue. In that case, there's no real need to run Lambda inside a VPC. But imagine you want to be able to access a database that's in the VPC, or you might want to be able to make an HTTP call to a private API that only exists within the VPC. We can do that, and we can do that by running the Lambda function within the VPC. So essentially what happens is an ENI, an elastic network interface, gets attached to Lambda. This is what's called a hyperplane ENI. So it's actually something that is shared across Lambda functions. So as long as your Lambda functions share an availability zone and a set of security groups, then that hyperplane ENI can be reused across invocations. So they can't be reused concurrently, but if you have 5 different functions that all execute in sequence, it avoids the cold start delay that you would normally have from creating that ENI, because that can take 20 to 30 seconds. That means that the very first time you execute a Lambda in a VPC, there can be a bit of a delay. Not something to worry about too much, something to be aware of. In the exam, they may allude to it, but generally it's not something they talk about too much. The sort of questions you'll get are more focused around how can a Lambda function access something inside a VPC? And of course the answer is run it inside the VPC. Here's a summary for you. Until next time, enjoy the cloud.